wow. I mean, wow. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, aka Beetlejuice 2, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, is so great. It just like really gets you in the mood for Halloween. I'm definitely gonna be rewatching it when it comes to streaming in October, which hopefully it does. But this movie, man, was just such a fun time. I don't know if it's better than the original or not. Like, it is just such a great movie, man. But instead of just sitting here talking about how great it is, let's review it for you guys. So let's get into it. So one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie was the fact that they basically had the same exact intro as the first one. They like did a camera shot going through the same diorama in the same house in the same way. It was honestly great. Another thing I really enjoyed about this movie was the portrayal of Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice in this movie was handled so well by Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is really, really good in the role. Nobody could do better. Like, lines like, "The juice is loose," is so iconic. It is great. This movie handled his character just so well. And while talking about characters, the character of Delia is actually likable this time. Like in the first movie, I was saying like she is so hateable that I love her character. This time, she's not hateable. She's just very lovable. And it is a huge shock that I didn't see coming when she died in the movie. I did appreciate that after she died, she was still playing a role. I mean, that's what this movie, these like two movies are about, is playing a role even when you're dead. But they handled her character so well, they made her so likable that when she does die, you are kind of sad and you feel bad for her because she thought the snake was not poisonous, and then she ended up dying because the snake bit her in the neck when she was trying to speak with Charles. It was hilarious how that happened, but also kind of devastating. But also another thing that I really liked about the movie is just the VFX, or the effects. The effects in this movie are some of the best, man. Like, I mean, Beetlejuice, the original, was I think ahead of its time. Like, it really like did so much for its time. Like, it was 1988, right? Like, what things could you do with practical effects in 1988? And now we're in 2024 and Tim Burton just knocked it out of the park. Like, the snake worm was so awesome to see on screen. Honestly, that was one of the major things that I was really excited for coming into the movie, like to see how they would interpret the snake worm this time, because like last time it was like a bit glitchy, like a puppet, but this time, man, you actually thought it was a snake. Like, you actually thought it was great. Now, back to the characters, I want to mention Astrid. Astrid is a very interesting, like, character. She reminds me a lot of how Lydia used to be in the original. You know, like, distant. I mean, in a way, she's like Lydia, but in several other ways, she's not. Like, she doesn't believe in ghosts. She doesn't see the dead, but she also, like, has that, you know, I hate you, go away, like, vibe, you know, like, she's just a very interesting character. But now moving on to the character of Wolf Jackson, played brilliantly, I say brilliantly, by William Dafoe. This character is like an actor, but he died, and now he is like a cop in the afterlife. It's hilarious. But this guy is just so funny, like when he like does a front flip as like a stunt and stuff, because like his main line is, "You gotta keep it real," and he just does a bunch of stunts. It's hilarious, and he ends up like destroying the cake at the end of the movie by like bursting through it because he was hiding in the cake, which was hilarious. And William Dafoe really just played him so very well. Like, props to William Dafoe for this movie, man. He did great. And now a little bit negative. The character of Dolores, Beetlejuice's wife. Now, this character had something. Like, she had the build-up. I was liking the build-up. She seemed like a very, like, evil, threatening villain. But then, like, she got taken out very, very easily in the finale. Like, all it took was the sandworm to take her out. And that was just kind of disappointing. Like, they were building her up to be like this ultimate fight, because like her power is crazy. She could suck the soul out of you and kill you permanently and like shrivel you up. By the way, she did that to Bob. How dare you, man? Don't respect Bob. But anyway, like, her powers were amazing beyond anything we've seen in the past movie, but they just handled her character like way too clumsily, I think. Like, they had a great build up. They had a great villain on their hands, and they screwed it up by just having her get defeated too easily. I think she's like a loose story thread, to be honest. So now I want to talk about, like, another character I really didn't like. Now, I really didn't like the dead kid in the movie. Like, the one that Jenna Ortega hangs out with. What, of course, I mean by is Jeremy Fraser. Like, this entire thing of him killing his parents and then, like, dying, and the soul swapping that happens between Jeremy and Astrid, I didn't like that part of the movie. Like, everything about his character I just did not like. And he was honestly just a waste as well. Like, there was no threat with either of those, like, two villains. You know, there was no threat. I did not feel like there was any stakes with these good guys, and yeah. And now I move on to the character of Father Damien, played by Baron Gorman. Like, I didn't know he was in this movie. Like, I know him from The Dark Knight Rises, and I like him. He's a good actor. But it was a pleasant surprise, and he was great in this movie, of course. He played a priest, and he just did the role very well. He was at sometimes comedic and at sometimes serious. You know, he was just handled perfectly, I think. But that's basically all I have to say about that. Now, I want to talk about, like, the final battle. Now, at one point in the movie, we get to see Astrid's father, who is deceased, and he helps Lydia and Astrid get out of the afterlife. And all this happened because she needed, like, Lydia needed to get Astrid from the afterlife because the boy took her to the afterlife, and in order to get out, they needed him. So but before getting out, like, her and Beetlejuice struck a deal to get married. So obviously it basically almost resembles the ending of the original with them getting married. And let me just tell you, before this actual final battle happens, there is this awesome scene where, like, everybody in the church is recording and Beetlejuice is like, all right, how about some privacy? And he starts making everybody's face start to get sucked into the phone, and that is just hilarious. So the people out there who love their phones, maybe Beetlejuice will come and do that to you. And that's a good lesson to not be on your phone 24/7. That could happen to you. Like, you look at your phone so much you could just get sucked in. But anyway, I love that. I thought it was very cool to see how those effects would be done, and they were done well. And it was just so crazy how Beetlejuice got inflated and inflated until he popped like a balloon. That was honestly crazy. And it was kind of sad when they had to take away Delia to the afterlife because she couldn't be around them because she was dead, and they made this funny joke of, oh, the snake was poisonous, because, like, throughout her time having the snake, she was like, oh, it's not poisonous, blah blah blah. Yeah, well, you're dead now, so clearly it was poisonous. But that's really all I have to say about this movie. It was a very, very fun time, and I definitely rate this a 10 out of 10. I still am lost if I think this is better than the original or worse than the original. I think I'm just gonna have to, like, think of that, like, some more. But everything was just so great about this movie. Like, the first one, like, I remember I watched the first one in October, and it really did not, like, get me ready for the spooky month. But this movie actually really made me hype. Like, this is definitely something I would watch on Halloween. Like, the other one, sure, put it on, like, when I'm walking around doing house chores. But I think this one has a rewatchability to it. I mean, both of them do, but, like, one is just better for the actual holiday than the other. But I really hope that it comes to streaming service very soon, because I definitely want to give this a rewatch in October, because it's just the perfect timing. Like, they released this movie perfect timing. Like, Tim Burton really wanted to make it in a September release date, so that way it could come to streaming in October. So hopefully it does. But that's all today. Look forward to the Karate Kid 3 review. Trust me, we have a bunch more videos coming out. We have a Daryl Dixon Season 1 review coming out. Soon we're gonna start reviewing the Halloween franchise, so get pumped for that. That's definitely gonna be some fun. Get ready for reviews on Terrifier 1 and 2, Joker 1, the first two Venoms. Like, there's a lot of videos we have planned, so just strap yourselves in for a wild and fun ride and get ready for some good videos. But that's all for this video. Bye!